So the framework I used is finding you, finding community, and finding energy. So let's deep dive into these topics. So the first one, finding you. So this is actually one of the questions I think Harmeet was asking earlier. So I hope this helps. So unlearning and reinventing yourself actually starts with you. And most of us don't go deep enough because our mind is always in a thinking mode. We think about our little world, our job, our family, our problems. So stepping out of that narrow circle almost seems impossible because we are stuck with comparison and influences from everything around us. So oftentimes we try to imitate someone without even knowing. We accept certain standards in this world, but in order to find who you are, the mind has to be free. And only when you start practicing conscious living and when you're aware of your thoughts, you will get clarity about your life. And how do I do this? And I cannot think of any better answer than meditation. The proven and the best way to get this right is through practicing at least 10 minutes of meditation every day. And that will help you to start being present throughout the day. So I started my self discovery journey by asking three questions. These three questions that I've put here. What kind of a life do I want to live? What kind of a person do I want to become? And what is my purpose? And this is one of the equation that I came across in this book, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. And it's actually very simple to understand. This concept is from ancient scriptures, but I found this equation, more easier to understand this concept. So your passion, is whatever you're passionate about, and then the skill is the skill that you have, and the usefulness is actually the service piece. So, for example, say you're passionate about modeling, but you need to think whether that has meaning or usefulness, and what impact will it have? How will it be of service to other? Will it empower anyone? Because sometimes, even though you have the passion and the skill, if there is no impact to it or if there is no service, then you might not feel good about it. So it takes time to realize it, but I think when you find your passion and the skill that you're working towards and invest your life in that, which should be of service, then I think you would be able to identify what your purpose is. And I think you also cannot lock all these answers in a day or two. So you have to constantly revisit them, think about it. And as you're living life more consciously, you can observe certain things like, you can observe and think about what gives you fulfillment, what are you naturally good at, what do people appreciate you for. You can think about what do you care about the most. And when you observe these things closely and see what brings changes in your energies, that will help you find your answers. For example, when someone opens up to me about their life, or when they talk about their relationships, I feel energized. I like to listen to them, I like to offer advice and help people. So that's when I started to think about coaching. I thought, okay, maybe I might enjoy this. And I gave it some time. I tried to just, talk with people and see if I'm enjoying doing this. Am I enjoying investing time in others? And also, am I good at it? Do I have that skill? Do I have that passion? So you need to kind of explore a bit deeper about what you like. And I also felt that I really love to read and share knowledge, and that's when I realized I wanted to do more speaking at events. So these are like few examples I wanted to share on how you can find um, your purpose or passion. And in the next slide here, I've put together how you can think about your vision. So let's say, like, we set goals like I want to lose weight, or I want to have my living room clean, or something like that, which are mostly very tactical, but they are goals without any intention. So you have to set your vision that aligns with your identity and with your value. And which is why I put together this IVI vision, which is identity, value, and intention. So you cannot really trust motivation all the time when you set goals, because one day you might feel motivated, but the other day you might not feel that you want to do it. So I think having this IVI vision is huge. It's more than a goal, and that will help you to constantly work towards what you want to do. So, I guess as you can see in the slide, I have two examples here of how to put your vision statement. So, you can do this exercise of thinking about a value, and where you got that value from, and is it true to you? And from that, you can identify and put together a vision statement in different aspects. So, I want to be healthy so that I can have more energy and live to my fullest potential. So this is, more like a vision statement, because you're saying that you want to be healthy and you're saying why you want to be healthy. And you also know that this is true to yourself because your father or mother or who or wherever you learned this from, you know that it is authentic to yourself, and you by yourself wanted to be this person. So in this way, even though you miss, say, 2 days of workout, or you eat junk food for 1 week, you don't get easily distracted, because you know that this is your vision, this is true to you, and this is who you want to be. So you will naturally get back on track even though you miss, a week or so. The next step is translating your vision into habits. So once you have your vision, say, you had your vision on health and organization, now you can think about how to translate that into habits. And you actually need a lot of perseverance and discipline to make your vision come true. And like I said, some of the things that we discussed earlier about moving from instant gratification to long term gain, and from being distracted and changing on a whim to being disciplined, is all really important to achieve what you want to do. And you can also think about your habits and vision in different aspects, like spiritual health and different areas of life, like spiritual health, financial, personal, and so on. And you can break them into like habits based on what your vision is. And this is one of my favorite quotes from former President of India, Abdul Kalam. So Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam: "You cannot change your future, but you can change your habits, and surely your habits will change your future." So, any questions so far? I've been talking for a long time. Just wanted to check.
Uh, no, so I think we have some questions around like the references and the books, so which I think you can share afterwards.
Okay, okay, cool. So once I just wanted to also put some tips on how to stay focused on your habits. And I enjoyed reading this book, Atomic Habits. It's a great book if you want to break bad habits and start with good habits. So, some things that really work for me is having a morning and an evening routine. And to set up a time and a location for all the habits that I wanted to do. And sometimes initially I used to put it in my calendar, but once it becomes natural, I just, don't put it in my calendar anymore. But it's just one way to get started. And also, you could start with the 2 minute rule, which is you when you start a new habit, instead of saying, for example, I would do 30 minutes of exercise or something like that, you could start with something very easier to accomplish, which is you can just say, I'm going to at least exercise for 2 minutes or 4 minutes or something like that, basically for a shorter time. So when I started yoga, I just used to do like three asanas for like 4 minutes or something every day. And after 3 months of doing it, I started to naturally enjoy it. And then I extended it to 15 minutes and 20 minutes. And now I do it like for 30, 40 minutes. So the 2 minute rule really helped me. And even now, sometimes if I'm, really hectic, busy with work, have a early meeting or something, I still just do it at least for 2 minutes so that I don't miss, that habit. And also the other rule is never miss twice in a row. So this is also helpful, just so if you miss 2 times, it's more, you might miss it more times and lose track of your habit. And the other exercise that I did is visualizing what my next day would look like. So when I go to sleep, I would think about how the next day would look like. If it's really hard, I would I would think about, okay, if I get up at 6 a.m. and do all these things, my day would be really great. So having that kind of a vision in my head really motivates me to wake up the next day, not hit the snooze alarm, and and all of those things. So just wanted to share that tip as well. And also, I use a habit tracker. It's called the Clear Fox Journal, but there are also a lot of other habit tracker out there. In fact, I think James Clear itself has a habit tracker, which you can buy. So I really like to track my habits, just to see, at the end of the week, how did that week go. It's something that I like to look at and say, okay, this week went well, and these are a few things I need to work on next week. So that constant feedback on where you are at and how you're doing really helps you to keep doing what you're doing. And these are two of my favorite quotes that I keep saying to myself every day, because I'm still not perfect at the things I do, like, yoga or whatever it is. I'm not perfect, but I just say that progress is greater than perfection, and discipline is greater than motivation. Oh, okay. The next one is finding community. So, the first step to finding you is important to find your group or your tribe, because when you're yourself, like-minded energy sources will gravitate towards you. I don't know how many of you have read Sapiens, but it's a very interesting book. And there's also this interesting concept in that book, which says that humans dominate the earth because of the power to collaborate and cooperate in extremely flexible ways with countless numbers of strangers, which none of the animals can do. So we need to use that power to work together in groups, to lift each other up and support each other as we grow, and your community will actually be part of your group. So I think it's high time we start operating in a more group fashion than to work more independently. And there's also a lot of emphasis in general about being independent, but I think what we truly need to think about is being interdependent. And while an independent self values being unique and making a contribution and being heard and influencing others, interdependent actually emphasizes on relationships, on similarities to others, and adjusting to others, and being conscious of other people's feelings and emotions. So I've been in social circles where my friends won't pay attention to what I'm saying, or they'll disregard or laugh at certain things I say. And the things I do, like meditation and journaling, were not part of their life. So I felt weird talking about that, and I couldn't associate myself with these groups. So then I joined this Failure Friday group, and I started to meet people who saw the value in the things that I'm saying. They thanked me for the valuable advice that I was sharing with them, and they just get the things that I say, and I didn't feel like weird about the things that I do, which I felt with other groups. So that's when I realized I do make sense. I do have some wisdom in me. But I just couldn't see that because I was interacting with the people whose minds were not prepared to understand what I was saying. Um, it's not to say that there are people who are good or bad or anything like that, but it's just to say that those people might not understand what you're trying to say, because you might be slightly different from them. um, so on that point, like, I just wanted to say, like, I was able to attract positive energy from this group, and uh, the biggest reason why I started doing a lot of things was because I got a lot of motivation from this group. So I would say, be aware of whom you interact with, who draws energy from you and who provides you energy, and keep yourself surrounded with positive energy sources. You should always be aware of how people make you feel. And your tribe is not just for accountability, not just to check upon you whether you did this, did that, but these are actually people who will make you realize your value, who will inspire you and dare you to dream bigger. And always think about giving back to your group as well, because when you give, it definitely comes back as well. The last framework, the last piece of the framework is finding energy. So this is actually an interesting concept, I think. A lot of people usually ask me, like, how do you manage your time effectively and juggle between different things? And my answer to them is usually like, it's not about time management, but it's actually about energy management. And these are five energy modes um, that exist. So one is with your spiritual energy, and the second is with your okay, let me explain what it means. So spiritual energy is when you feel like being in like praying, or when you feel like being with nature, or just being quiet, um, or when you're in your dream state. And then the second is when you think, or when you're in vision building state, or ideating, or reading. And then your emotional energy is when you're reflecting, or when you're having some creative expression, or you're basically like feeling something really deep. And the next one, which is connecting with your physical energy, is when you're exercising, or when you're eating, or cleaning, or sleeping. And then the last one is when you're actually like socializing, or having heartful conversations with people around you. So now that you've understood what these five energy modes are, it's important to ask yourself these three questions. On what times of the day do you naturally feel in tune with these energies? So, for example, I feel like I like to do yoga, or excuse me, uh, or be quiet, or pray, or whatever, in the morning when I wake up, than in the evening. And when I want to talk with friends or hang out, it's easier for me to do that in the evenings than in the afternoons. And so just thinking about, like, these different activities which you do, like whether you're working on a project, whether you're reading, or you're exercising, like if you think about when do you naturally feel in tune with that energy, that really helps you to be more active and get things done quickly. So you can also think about redesigning your daily flow to honor these energies. And you can do a quick exercise to see what your existing habits are and how you want to change them to adapt your energies. For
Uh,
example, yeah, good.
so yeah, I have a question. Like, so in terms of like trying new things or doing something that would require like it's a new territory. There's that unknown. Uh, what do you think? Is that like more of like an emotional energy, or like like a mental energy, or how do you see that aspect?
When you're thinking something, like I think, oh, oops, I was going back. So for me, like if I have to think on something, like get more creative or do some side project, then I do it usually like 10 to 12 is kind of my peak energy, where I can do those kind of ideation projects. And early in the morning is when I can do my exercises, because in the evening I feel like I'm more burnt out after work. So I think you were talking about like new ideas, right? Working on new projects and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and also like sometimes when you're trying to like acquire like a new habit or something like that, it takes more emotional commitment than like other aspects. So uh, yeah, yeah, it's a mix of like trying something new, ideation, or it could be like that threshold that you need to pass in terms of emotional energy maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Like the emotional one is a bit tricky. Like for me, what I meant by that is sometimes if I want to have a more deeper conversation with someone, like either with your partner or with your parents or something, I need to be in a state to have that, and that cannot be on weekdays for me. Uh, That's just me because
Sure.
I am so my head will always be at work, and I cannot have like a serious conversation with my mom about anything. So usually I do that on weekends, and I do that in the evenings, because in the morning again I use it for different things. So kind of thinking like where your natural energy is at
Okay.
different, yeah, things in your day, that really helped me to get more things done.
Cool.
Because what happens is, if I have to have that conversation on weekday, I'm not going to do it effectively, and then I have to have the same conversation on weekends
Yeah.
again. So that means essentially I'm
Sure.
spending more time having the same conversation.
Uh, is it okay if I may attempt to answer that based on my experience?
Sure.
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
So for me, emotional energy is something like it's not a checkpoint at one point in the day. I constantly have learned to check in with myself. Just an example, in your work life, you enter a meeting, you're not expecting hostility or being challenged, but you are. That's a fact of life, and it affects you as strong as one might be. It affects you. So my coach has taught me this technique of mindfulness. I think it connects very strongly to your emotional energy because mindfulness kind of forces you to acknowledge what you're feeling in the now and then let it pass. So I have moments where I need to check in with my emotional energy, and to take it one step further, what helps is just tapping on my body, just like on my hands, or giving yourself a hug. Any kind of everyone has a way of releasing it. Human touch is very important, but not everyone you can every time you can go and hug your loved ones. Just tapping on your body, releasing those hormones, going back to the acknowledgement that this is now, but this does not define me, and that
Mhm.
has really helped me with emotional energy.
Yeah, that's a great point. For me, it's also about like breathing. Like sometimes when I feel that, I take like a, yeah, deep breath, or just close my eyes, focus on my breath like for a minute or something like that, and that also really helps me.
Thanks.
Cool. I think, yeah, we're nearing the end of the workshop. So I just wanted to finally say that there are no shortcuts. You must work for it. And this is like kind of the secret formula I came up with for the path of fulfillment and reinventing yourself. It's about obsessive passion, relentless effort, and constant growth, like, where you are and where you want to be, constantly reflecting on it and growing, and then taking risk. And what I mean by taking risk is actually not like financial risks or anything, but more around like being okay with uncertainty, being okay to step into the unknown, because we don't always know what would happen. So, with that
Wait,
said,
wait.
um,
There are no
yeah.
shortcuts. That's what I was hoping for. Damn it.
That's the truth. Yeah. So, if you want to take actions today, just whatever we discussed, finding you, putting together your identity, value, and intention vision, translating vision into habits, finding your tribe, and aligning with your energy moves. That's about it. Happy to take any questions. And yeah, if you want to reach out to me, these are a few links that I put together. I'm more active on Instagram, so you can follow me on gromance underscore, and ping me there, or you can email me, reach out to my website. Um, yep.
Uh, Hello.
Hey.
Uh, this is Vishek. I am from IU. Uh,
Oh,
so,
nice. Yeah.
uh, uh, so how long does it take? I mean, did it take to? I mean, the thing is like building habit, whatever you want. It takes time, and even uh, like if you are planning to do something, even like sticking to the plan, you got through a lot of failure. So like maybe when like did it to become more and more, you can say like maybe perfect towards following the plan. How long did it take? For me, like it is like uh, it is very difficult to follow a plan. I can make all these things and like know all these things, and the one of the things that has helped me till now is like kind of a meditation called Vipassana, which is also basically mindfulness. I mean, in West people have just
Mhm.
rebranded them as so like but the thing is like I sometimes even are not able to do sometimes, but when I do that, then I am able to like all these things can naturally happen. So all these things to happen, like I mean, I have done I have failed a lot of times, and again there is a resilience, but it's always like it took some time to even like reach to some sort of resilience. So how long did it take for you,
So,
or did
no,
or maybe you have the different process, it might be
no, yeah, totally
uh,
understand. Like, I can totally understand what you mean. Like, it's not easy to, stick with your habits for a long time. So, definitely hear you there. I think for me, okay, let me give you an example of how I lost weight. So, I used, like, for the last 2 years, I've done so many things. I've been on different crash diets. I've gone for HIIT workouts, but I never lost weight. Or I would lose like 3 pounds or 5 pounds, but then I would
yeah.
easily, put back weight. But this quarantine, what I did is I didn't set a goal like I want to lose weight or I want to lose 20 pounds or anything like that. But I thought about, why do I want to lose weight? Like, is it because I want to look attractive, or is it like, what is the reason? And and then I asked why. So my first thing was, I want to be healthy. I asked, okay, why do I want to be healthy? And then I said, okay, I want to have more energy, and I can have more energy only when I'm healthy. And then I asked, okay, why do I want to have more energy? It's because I want to do more things. I just don't want to do only my work at Amazon. I want to do a lot of different things. So I need to be healthy. And so I asked again, like, why do I want to do more things? Um, because that gives me, that feeling of, okay, there is some purpose in my life, something that I'm chasing towards. So it came down, so basically where I'm going at is, you ask a lot of whys and try to understand the deepest intention of why you're doing what you're doing. So at that point, so now for me, like, health has become very important, because I want to be energetic, I want to be productive, I want to do a lot of different things. So I can do that only if I'm fit, only if I eat healthy food that gives me energy to do things, the rest of the day. Because if I know, if I eat biryani, I'm just going to sleep after I have it. I cannot sit and record my podcast, or I cannot do anything after I eat biryani. So that just makes me feel, okay, I shouldn't eat biryani now, because I have to, do these different things. So for every goal that you have, or for every new habit that you want to build, if you go a bit deeper and ask like 4 or 5 whys, and try to understand your deepest intention, even if you eat biryani for 2 days, the third day you won't feel like doing it, because you know that you cannot be who you want to be by eating biryani. I'm just giving an example. So, that really helped me to do the things that I want to do. I hope that helps.
uh,
That's
it, it's a deeper problem, but yeah, yeah, thanks. Uh,
yeah. I think to be mindful of everyone's time, we can probably take one more question, uh, and then we'll wrap this up.
So yeah. Thanks for this session. It's really useful and bringing so many good thoughts. Thanks, Pavi, and
Yeah.
everyone. So I got a quick question. Hope you never reach this, and never nobody asked you this question, but did you ever feel that there was no spontaneity anymore? Like everything has to be under rules. Like
Um,
I don't know if I asked right, but it's like you're in a routine all day long and you have times for different things. But like out of the blue, something happens and you have to deal with it. I mean, like people who go to gym every day feel odd that they didn't go for a couple of days for the exact time that they were going. So did you come to the point where like, hey, this kind of looks more routinish than it can be? It need not be that because you're always finding new things and it's more exciting. But was there something that you felt that down the line, or how did you overcome that?
yeah, it's actually a great question. So I think, that's when I spoke about this topic of not trying to have everything planned, but letting life also unfold. And what I meant by that is, so I don't get into the weeds of planning like everything. For example, I don't plan um, like what to say. I'm just thinking of some examples to give so it's easier. So what I'm saying is I don't plan like where I want to be 5 years from now. So I don't plan, okay, this year I want to get promoted to L6, to senior product manager. Next year I want to be a manager. Next year I want to do this. So I don't usually do that vision board 5 year, 10 year plan, because I want to see what life has to offer and go with that flow also. But in terms of certain other things like, health or mindfulness, those are things I think I like to incorporate those habits, so it's part of my life and I take it wherever I go. So yoga, no matter how busy I am, for example, if I become a mom or whatever, I just want to take yoga with me wherever I go and whoever I am. So there are certain things like that which form into habits, and there are certain things which I don't plan, and try to get deeper answers within myself on whether I enjoy doing this. So, for example, coaching, right? I had to think a lot. Like, do I really enjoy talking for hours with people, understanding what they are, what they want in their lives, or is it too much for me? Can I even handle that? So those things I don't plan necessarily. I want to launch a program for coaching. I want to make x amount of dollars. I don't plan those aspects in my life. So I think it's kind of a balance. Like certain habits you want to take it with you where you go, and like to your point, there are certain things which you want to do spontaneously, based on what happens in your life. So it's finding that balance, I think.
Oh, thank you. Very well answered.
Sure.
Uh, cool. I think we can wrap up the talk. If you definitely have more questions, reach out to Pavi and to us. Um, Thank you, Pavi, for presenting. This is a great talk. And yeah, and everyone, if you want to stay connected, you can definitely RSVP on the Bharatiyam.com/RSVP. I think Vivek shared that on the chat, to stay updated with more talks. We'll be doing this on a regular basis, and there are other amazing initiatives on Bharatiyam website as well that you can be part of. And if you want to present, definitely we would be happy to organize that. So do reach out.
Yeah, and thank you everyone once again for joining late evening on a weekday. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Cool. Bye bye.
Bye.
Thanks for the session again.